Hello everyone. So today I want to see if I could try to explain on the Nextion editor is the clock. Give me 1 second here. Let me see if I can bring this down. Let me see. Today I would like to look at the timer. If you look on the far left on your toolbox, a little thing called a timer right here. It was kind of hard to find information on it. So I thought, maybe I could see if I could try to explain it. Maybe everybody had a hard time trying to explain it because hardly any seen information on it. So, let me give an example here to show you. Let me get past all this. So the timer, this is a timer set for 13. It goes from 13 seconds on all the way down to 0. I'm gonna remove this later on. This is just to show me that it's working properly. So 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see, 0, and then it goes into my home screen, or my home display, my home screen. So it works perfectly. It's just a timer. The minor flaw, negative. I get negatives every now and then, but it's missing a refresh page on that one. So I'll fix that later on. But display time. So when you click on display time, this is how I have this set up, to where I'll do a video on that part later. I just want to look into timers. Let's do 1 minute to make it last a little bit longer. Like, for example, if I click the 1 minute here, it'll go start off at 58 seconds. From 58 seconds, it'll go to my home screen, show it for 2 seconds, and then it'll the display will power off. I was trying to find a way to where it automatically locks itself, and this is the only way I could find it to do it this way, was using the timer. So I'm just gonna talk about a little bit about the timer itself and how it works. Let's see here. So the timer itself, what it is, it's a clock, and you have to have it on each page itself for it to work. Let's see, my display time. So this is where I started my timer off. I'll make another video on my display seconds on this page itself. But I just wanted to go over the clock because I couldn't find anything on it. Very much information on it. Very well documented information on it. You find example, but really didn't explain it too well. So for the timer itself, you click on it, you get you get like a variable down here. It's a TM for timer and then 0. And for the timer itself, you're going to need a variable or something to count down on. You could do either a number or a text display here. But for my purposes, I ended up using a variable, a timer and a variable on all the pages for each page to start off at that certain time where this is selected. So for the timer itself, it's pretty much a clock, and of course. So it's a clock, and let's look into it here. So I click it. If we look to the far right here, it doesn't give you much. It gives you time, or Tim, says TIM. It gives you Tim. And then for mine, I wanted it every second. It's an interval, and that's what this is. It's an interval. So from the interval from number 1 to number 2 is 1,000 milliseconds, which in turn is 1 second. And the interval from 2 to 3 is 1,000 milliseconds, and so forth. And that's what this is. It's an interval between each number. It's an interval itself. That's the best way of explaining it. The time between each number. And then here's an EN enable, which a 1 is turned on and 0 is turned off. So you can only manipulate these two. Of course, the lower the interval, the faster the numbers will, the counter will go down, and the higher the interval, then of course the longer it takes to go from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and so forth. But that's pretty much what it is. It's just an interval, a timer interval, in other words. So let me see here. I guess we can look into the code here. Let's see. Let's look into the code. So let's look into the example of the timer code I have down for the display itself. So if you click on the timer, and it gives you this, the timer event. So for what I have, what I'm using on this page, I changed out the name on the variable as opposed to it's saying VA1 or VA2. It was easier just to add, I called it a different name, and you can actually change out the names on it. Where it says object name, you can change out the name to where it's, I put it as timer counter. And then I made it global because of course I'm going to be using it for all the other pages. So let's go to the timer. Let's see, timer. So the way I did this one for this page, the timer on this page, it's the timer counter dot value is equal to the timer counter dot value minus 1. So you're pretty much, so in this case, let's say for this one is, let's see, 15 seconds. It's going to start off at 15. Well, actually, no, it starts off at 13. I have it programmed for 13. So it's going to start off at 13 seconds, then it's going down to 12, 11, all the way down to 0. So it says on here, the next line, you're going to convert the timer counter value, and you're going to place the numbers that's going down, this numbers that are going to be displayed, that are counting down. You want it displayed to T7, it's going to be right here, T7.txt, the timer counter dot value comma T7 dot txt comma 0, and then the next line is if the timer counter dot value is equal to 0, once it reaches all the way down to 0, then of course I wanted it to go to my home page, and then it's going to go to my home page over here. And once it goes to this part of the puzzle, pretty much what my home page is, it means it's just going to go ahead, and once you touch the picture itself, it goes into the passcode mode. It goes into the passcode itself. So I'm using it pretty much as where it automatically locks itself. So this is a very simple example and explanation of the timer itself. Just to recap, it's just an interval that you're manipulating, and on and off. The distance, the interval in milliseconds from one number to the next number. And that's about it. And of course you have to have a variable associated to it, or a display associated to it. It just won't work on its, or unless you're putting it to another page, it just won't work on its own. In other words, it doesn't do anything. It's just pretty much a clock with an interval from numbers. That's pretty much the best way I can describe it. So I hope you find this useful. I hope I explained it good enough, let's put it that way. And I will be making a video of this piece of the puzzle later on, of the what is this? Oh, the display time. The display time, that's what this is. The display time of how many seconds it stays on before it goes into dims, in other words. It's where it's not a fixed dims, in other words. Not dims, I'm sorry, not fixed dims, but a fixed, what is it, the TH, let me verify that, I'm sorry, it's not dims, it's, I am manipulating THU, it's not THUG, is it? Thug, no, THG or something. Oh no, THSP, that's what I'm manipulating on this page. The THSP is the display time. It's not the dims time, it's not the brightness time, but it's the display time. And so I'll go into more detail in another video on this. It works out pretty good, and I'll show you an example on it. It works out really well. But I mean, you can. This is just an example. That's pretty much what it is. It could be used for other things, and like I've always said, there's always room for improvement, of course. And I hope you found my timer explanation useful, and you have a wonderful day.